The E3 were legendary. A species that had abandoned deception centuries ago, evolving neuroperceptive abilities that allowed them to sense emotional dissonance, lies, fears, hidden intentions. Humans called it mind reading. The E3 called it clarity. And now I was being partnered with one. We met in a quiet negotiation chamber overlooking the gas giant storms. Esselira entered without ceremony, her presence filling the room in a way I couldn't explain. When she sat across from me, her gaze settled gently but firmly on my face. "You are afraid," she said calmly. I froze. Excuse me? Her head tilted. "You mask it well, better than most of your kind, but the effort is loud." Heat rushed to my face. "I'm not afraid. I'm prepared." She studied me for a long moment, then nodded. "That is what you tell yourself." No alien had ever spoken to me like that. No human had either. Our assignment was simple on paper. Translate and mediate a first-contact dispute between two minor species on the edge of Federation space. In reality, it was a political test. One mistake could ignite a trade war. As we worked, I noticed something unsettling. Esselira didn't just understand my words. She understood the pauses between them, the hesitations, the moments where my confidence cracked just slightly. "You doubt your worth," she said softly during a break. "You believe you are tolerated, not valued." I laughed nervously. "You E3 really don't do small talk, do you?" "This is small talk," she replied. And then, without warning, she reached out and touched my wrist. The contact sent a shock through me, not physical, but emotional. A sudden, overwhelming sense of being seen. Every insecurity I had buried beneath years of professionalism surfaced all at once. She pulled her hand back instantly. "I apologize," she said. "I did not mean to intrude." I swallowed hard. "It's fine." But it wasn't. Because in that moment, I realized something terrifying. I had never been honest with anyone, not even myself. When truth becomes intimacy. Over the following days, our partnership deepened in ways I couldn't have predicted. Esselira was patient, incisive, and unfailingly sincere. She never lied, because for her species, lies were a kind of violence. Working beside her was like standing under a spotlight that followed my every thought. "You fear being insignificant," she said once as we reviewed diplomatic transcripts. "Yet you continually act with compassion." "Compassion doesn't mean strength," I replied bitterly. "In your species, perhaps not," she said. "In mine, it is the highest form." I didn't know how to respond to that. What unsettled me most was how comfortable I felt around her. The more she saw through me, the less I felt the need to hide. It was liberating and frightening. One night, after a particularly tense negotiation session, we stood together at the observation ring. The storms below glowed with electric blues and purples. "Why do you look at me like that?" I finally asked. "Like what?" "Like you know how my story ends." She turned to face me fully. "Because I know how it begins." I laughed quietly. "And how is that?" "With a human who believes love must be earned through usefulness," she said. "And an E3 who has never understood why truth frightens your kind so deeply." I didn't realize how close we were until I felt the warmth radiating from her skin. "Esselira," I said carefully, "your people don't bond with other species. Not like this." Her eyes softened. "That is untrue. We do not bond with false selves." Silence stretched between us. Then she said the words that changed everything. "I saw through you the moment we met," she said, "and I chose to stay." Ending, love without illusion. The final negotiation ended in success. The Federation praised our work. My superiors offered me a permanent promotion, higher clearance, better quarters, more status. Everything I had thought I wanted. That night, I found Esselira in the observation chamber one last time. Her posture told me the truth before she spoke.
"You are leaving," I said.
"Yes," she replied. "My assignment here is complete." My chest tightened. "And what about us?" She approached slowly. "In my culture, love is not possession. It is recognition." I swallowed. "So that's it? You see me, and then you walk away?" She reached out, placing her hand over my heart. This time, the contact was gentle, intentional. "I see you," she said softly. "And because I see you, I will not stay unless you choose truth over safety." "What does that mean?" I whispered. "It means no more masks," she said. "No more believing you must earn existence through usefulness. If you come with me, it will be as you are, not as who you pretend to be." The storms below raged louder, as if the universe itself held its breath. For the first time in my life, I didn't measure my choice by fear. "I don't know who I am without the mask," I admitted. Esselira smiled, the same knowing smile from the day we met. "Then we will discover him together." I resigned my position the next morning. Weeks later, as our vessel slipped into the star stream toward ethery space, I stood beside her, watching unfamiliar constellations take shape. Love, I realized, wasn't about being admired. It was about being understood, completely, painfully, beautifully. And for the first time, I wasn't afraid of being seen. The evacuation alarms echoed through the station as the final transport prepared to leave orbit. Federation officers rushed past, shouting orders, sealing doors. The ethery delegation was already boarding their vessel, Esselira among them. I stood frozen at the edge of the docking bay, watching her from a distance. This was the moment where stories usually lie to you, where love is dramatic and desperate and loud, where someone runs shouting a name, begging for another chance. But Esselira didn't look back, because she didn't need to. She had already seen my answer forming long before I understood the question. I stepped onto the boarding ramp just as the bay lights dimmed. Several ethery turned, startled. Esselira finally faced me, not surprised, not hopeful, only calm. "You chose," she said quietly. I nodded. I stopped hiding. That was all it took. No embrace. No grand declaration. Among her people, truth didn't require ceremony. She simply took my hand, and for the first time, I felt no resistance inside myself, no fear of being insufficient, no need to prove worth. As the ship detached from the station, Earth and everything I once measured myself against faded into the stars. Later, in the silence of faster-than-light travel, I asked her something that had haunted me since the beginning. "Did you really love me at first sight?" Esselira considered this, her luminous eyes reflecting distant galaxies. "No," she said honestly. "I recognized you." I frowned. "What's the difference?" "Love grows," she replied. "Recognition is instant. I saw who you were beneath the noise before you did." I watched the unfamiliar stars streak past, realizing something profound. Humans spent their lives trying to be chosen for what they could offer. Esselira chose me for what I could no longer hide. And in a universe filled with infinite species and endless worlds, that was the rarest connection of all. For the first time, I wasn't traveling to escape who I was. I was traveling as myself.